Hey, first of all, I apologize for the delay on part 4. If I remember correctly, I left you off on yet another cliffhanger. Then all I saw was black. It must have been a few hours later when I finally regained my consciousness, and it didn't take long for me to realize that I wasn't in the same place anymore. So, where was I? When I opened my eyes, I was almost blinded by the brightness. The walls were bright yellow, and the carpeted floor was blue. All of the furniture and decorations were bright colors, but mostly red and green. I was in a house. A very strange house. Aiden was opposite me, chained to the wall. I tried to go over to him, but couldn't. That's when I realized that I was chained too. "Where are we?" I whispered whilst rubbing my eyes as they were still adjusting to the light. Aiden looked up at me and shrugged. "I don't know, but we're not alone." He put his finger as close as he could to his mouth and he shushed me. I could hear footsteps. All of a sudden, a girl walked into the room. Unlike the house, she had no color whatsoever. Black, gray, white, and maybe tiny spots of blue, brown, and green. Her skin was gray and her silky black hair was up in pigtails. Her eye color was jet black and she looked about 3 years older than me and Aiden. When she walked in, we pretended to be asleep. "Oh, children," her eerie voice sung. "Guys, we know you're awake. We heard you talking." The girl rolled her eyes and me and Aiden stayed still. "Come on, we're not the ones you need to be scared of," she chuckled. "Who's we?" Aiden asked. I lifted my head and gave him a stern look. "Oh, come on, Aiden. You should know. After all, you've been here before," the girl stated as she got right up in his face. "I've never been here before." Aiden looked confused. "Oh, that's right. You won't remember it. We wiped the memory from you," laughed the girl. "Silly me." "Who is we?" Aiden yelled. At that moment, a boy walked in. He looked the same age as the girl and also as if the color had been sucked out of him. "We, my darling, is me and my sister," the boy yelled. "I'm Frederico, and this is my sister Melody." He pointed at the girl. "Who are you?" I asked. I remember that I wasn't so much scared of them. I was more intrigued. "Well, aren't you a beautiful young lady?" The boy turned to me. "We are the Emperor's children," he said as he slid his hand down my face. "Unbiological." He got cut off by Melody. 1872, me and Freddie stepped into an elevator for the first time. It was late at night and the elevator got stuck when she got cut off by Freddie. When the doors opened, a woman with a white dress, black hair, you might have seen her actually. Well, she was stood there and took us to the Emperor. The Emperor sucked the color out of us, and just as he was about to eat our souls, we made a deal with him. Freddie smiled at Melody. "What was the deal?" I asked. "The deal was that if he let us live, then we would help him find souls to eat from other worlds," Melody answered me. Okay, lovely story. Now what did you wipe from my memory?" Aiden said impatiently. Federico took a needle and injected it into Aiden's neck. Aiden fell to the floor unconscious. I struggled as I tried to get out of the chains. "What did you do to him?" I shouted. "Relax. He'll be fine. He'll wake up in a bit with all of the memories that we took from him." Freddie smiled at me. "Why did you take his memories?" I had so many questions and so little answers. "They were too traumatic for him. We felt bad, so we decided to do it and let him go." Melody sighed. "Why? What happened that was so traumatic for him?" "Don't worry about that, sweetheart. You'll get your answers in good time," Freddie replied. There was a full 15 minutes of silence. Melody picked up a thick book and pen. She opened the book. "Which dimension are these kids from?" She turned to Freddie. "The boy is from 086253, and this little lady is from 04623. He winked at me. Melody wrote our names and then our numbers in the book. "What are you talking about?" I exclaimed with confusion. Well, my love, all that stuff you hear about parallel universes and dimensions, it's all true. You and Aiden are from different dimensions, as are we from you. Every different dimension has a few things different from the others. Freddie turned around to look at Aiden, who was now awake, and stood up. Aiden, how are you feeling? I asked. He looked up and smiled at me. I smiled back. I remember, his voice broke. I remember everything. Aiden, what do you remember? What's wrong? I tried to comfort him from far away. He was crying, and it broke my heart to see him so sad. He died, and I didn't help him, and I could have helped him, but I didn't, Aiden said between deep breaths. He was distraught, and you could tell. Look, kid, I'm gonna have to ask you to calm down. Freddie grabbed Aiden's arm. Aiden pushed Freddie's arm off of his. No, get off me. It was your fault, he yelled. Your fault, he sobbed. With all of Aiden struggling, he had managed to somehow get out of his chain and was now punching the wall. Freddie grabbed Aiden's hands and held him still. What's he talking about? What's wrong with him? I yelled with tears in my eyes. Melody sat down on a chair. Aiden's been in this world for almost 3 years. When he first got here, he wasn't alone. He met a friend, 18-year-old Jacob. He was gorgeous, and he had these... Freddie gave her a stern look from the ground where he was comforting Aiden. Sorry, I was getting sidetracked. She chuckled. Jacob and Aiden survived together in this world for over 2 years, but about 3 months ago, we caught them both. We decided to let them choose who was going to go to the Emperor first. They couldn't decide, so we told Aiden that Jacob was going to go first unless he had something to say. Aiden got scared and said nothing, so he watched as the knights took a screaming Jacob away to his death. I looked over at Aiden, who was on the floor with Freddie. You wiped my memory because I was sad? He sniffled. Oh, honey, you're distraught, let's face it, Melody muttered. Freddie carefully chained Aiden back up and left him. Are we gonna die? I cried. Nobody answered me. Well, if you're leading us to our deaths, then why are you being so nice to us? I continued. Freddie looked at me. Just because I do my job, it doesn't mean I like my job. Why make the deal in the first place? I asked stupidly. I did what I had to do for me and Melody to survive. Well, why can't you just let us go? You've done it before with me, Aiden pleaded. Yeah, and the last time we did that, Daddy punished us, Melody said. Another hour of silence went by. Freddie sighed and rolled his eyes. You know what? I like you too. He came over to us. And because we like you, we're going to set one of you two munchkins free. Back to your own world, he said as he unchained us and led us upstairs. We stood in front of what looked like a black hole. This black hole opens up to an elevator. Once you get in, you type the number of your home dimension and it takes you back, Freddie said. Daddy is going to be so mad at us, Melody said. The black hole opened up and we could see through the elevator. Why can't we both go? A tear fell from my face. The knights are coming to collect you already, and the elevator takes you to whatever dimension you put in. Then it goes straight back from there. No stops in between. You wouldn't have time, Freddie said as fast as he could. We could hear the knights and horses making their way to us. Sarah, Aiden turned to me. You go. I don't want to leave you, I whimpered. It's fine. I forgive you, he smiled, holding back tears. The knights had entered the room. Before I could say anything else, Aiden pushes me through the elevator. The knights grabbed him on either side, and he smiled at me one last time before the black hole closed. I'd never forget that last smile. I typed in the number 04623, which is what Eddie had said my dimension was. As the elevator took me home, I stood there sobbing. At long last, the elevator doors opened, and There I saw Nico and Jenny, the rest of my family, and the fire brigade. I ran to Nico and Jenny and flung my arms around them. The clock said 4 a.m. I was back in my sweet hotel in California. It turned out I had only been gone for 3 days in this world, and the elevator had stopped working after I stepped in it. I told everyone what had happened, and even though they said they believed me, I'm guessing that they didn't. All of that happened 2 years ago now, and don't worry, no paranormal thing has followed me back from the world or anything. I had nightmares for about 6 months after that happened, and still occasionally have them to this day. I wish I could see Aiden again. I think I'll always miss him. But I know that dead or alive, he's out there somewhere. A few weeks ago, I went to the shopping mall with my friend Lori. We went in the elevator to get to the ground floor. It was quite dark in the elevator, but I looked in the mirror at my own reflection, and I know what I saw. Aiden, only in the reflection, stood behind me smiling. That same smile he gave me the last time I saw him. I smiled back. My friend must have thought I was crazy. "What are you smiling at?" "Nothing," I said peacefully.